I guess it's time to do one of these. Hello! Thank you guys for 100 subscribers. I hate this because it's just so YouTube cringe. I'm just your average guy, right? Like, I need to get this out of the way. I don't have any sort of ego trip just having this following. I mean, it's nice, but I never really receive anything from it. I don't receive any sort of egotistical status. I don't feel like I'm the center of the world. I don't feel like I'm important, and you know, so on and so forth. And I don't really want to be worshipped because that will turn me into a piece of shit, which I don't want to be. I mean, I am one, but I want to treat everyone with respect, and I want to treat everyone the same way I want to be treated. But still, thank you for considering to subscribe. It's a nice milestone. We hit 6 digits, I think. Yeah, and my play button is on the way. I hope I can like show some footage of me just, well, you know, filming it or whatever. I don't know. I've ordered it, so it'll be here, ready to be placed in my apartment for, you know, display things purposes. Fuck. Let's with that out of the way, let's take a dig at the questions that people has been sending me, and for the remaining 2 people who are watching the video that want to hear them. Now, before we actually dig into the actual questions, I wanna there are some general questions that I get on my videos all the time. So yeah. So the first question I mostly get is, what language are you speaking? Well, it's Swedish. I speak Swedish in all of my videos, mostly. I know other kinds of, you know, words in other languages like German, Icelandic, Norwegian, I'm lying. Either way, the language I speak in my videos are English and Swedish, mainly Swedish in these casual videos. And I don't blame anyone for thinking that I speak Danish, Norwegian, sometimes Finnish, because most of the time people don't really know how Swedish or many of these Germanic languages sound like, you know. I mean, if you're German or somewhere anywhere else in Europe, you can probably tell the difference, but some people can't, and I don't get offended by that, so it's fine if people think I get offended really easily, which I don't. Next general question is, how do you get your sound effects? Well, to be honest, I really don't remember. I remember finding one video on YouTube where he provided a download link for his sound effects folder, and I downloaded it, and I totally forgot where I got it from. And I've had it for, I don't know how long, since 2016 or longer even. And I've been kind of building on that folder since, you know. I've ripped the sound effects from games, I've ripped them from YouTube videos, various other creators and such. And yeah, it's my folder now, I'd say. Next general question is, how do you make your view model look like that? Now, this is a really summed up question of like what my view model is, what my FOV is. Well, firstly, I think many people want to know how I get that VR looking view model. And it's essentially a VR command called CL_first person uses world model 1. And yes, between all of those spaces, it's a underscore. It basically shows your entire world model somewhat. There are some classes that are really annoying to deal with, like Spy, when you really don't know if you're invincible, or if you have your dead ring around, or sometimes your revolver kind of bugs out and it doesn't really reload everything. It's kind of weird, but I'd suggest using that view model on Scout or Heavy. Those two are like probably the best ones. And if you're wondering how I get like that weird view model thingy, where my gun is like at the bottom of my screen, it's essentially an option in advanced settings. It's a bit far down, but what it essentially does is moving your view model down a bit so you can like see more of the screen. But sometimes I like having my view model a bit in my face because I like looking at my skins, because I'm a bit of a skin enthusiast after all. And my view model, the command, how far my gun is away from me, is usually around 85 or 90 depending on how I feel. That's my view model settings. Now the next general question is, what is your HUD, or what HUD are you using? Well, it's an improved HUD that I found on a GitHub website, I think. I still use the 2020 outdated version of it, and I shouldn't be using it, and I don't know if they actually have a new version available. But either way, I use that HUD since it's fairly clean and improved version of the normal HUD, or the default HUD, whatever you want to call it. And I've kind of thrown my own mix into it. I've changed the strange and unusual icons in my backpack, including the haunted items or whatever, because I think it looks good. So yeah, and I also removed stat clocks and festivizers, so that's another thing I've added. And it's not something you can download except for the improved HUD, which I hope I can leave the link for in the description, or in the comments, pinned comments or whatever. Another general question is that what war paint are you using, and what's your favorite war paint? My favorite war paint in the game is Damascus Mahogany. I think it's pretty flawless. It's a bit overrated, really, but that's because it's like the only good, like really sleek and very good war paint that we have in the game right now. It's not too much. It only uses 2 textures compared to like 4 or 5 that some other war paints uses. That's why Swashbuckled is still not, you know, hasn't beaten the spot of Damascus Mahogany, because Damascus Mahogany is very, very simple and it's very good looking. That's why I like it. And people ask me what war paint I have on my rocket launcher. It's not a war paint, sadly. It's a skin that's stupidly expensive. The Strange Factor New High Rollers rocket launcher is something that I have, and I will always have that. I sold you. If you're willing to spend over 400 euros or 200 keys to obtain one of these, then go ahead. I'd suggest getting one in minimal wear. That's like, I don't know how much. The same goes for my top shelf knife, my revolver, my medigun. You know, it's most of the guns I use, or you know, skins that I use are, well, not war paints, but mostly skins. But basically, they're called the high roller skins and the coffin nail skins. And the top shelf skins are the ones that I use. Now, with the general questions out of the way, and for the one guy who keeps watching this video, let's get into the questions. Luis Quinto, how did you discover TF2? Well, I saw my bigger brother play it. I distinctly remember him playing Engineer, and he grabbed my attention really quickly. But at that time, I was literally just playing Roblox and Minecraft on my shitty-ass laptop, so. Lamb the Jam Man asks, what class do you pick when you want to have the least fun, but the most kills / results? If I want to have the least fun, but most results, I'd probably go with Heavy or Sniper, right? With Heavy, you really gotta think about your positioning, otherwise you're dead. Plus, you kinda need your team to back you up so you don't get focused fire down and die. With Sniper, well, I've had mixed results. Either I do good or I don't. It all depends on how much my team can pull their own weight. But most of the time, these classes can become really boring to play, like for an extended amount of time. With Heavy, yeah, sure, you can easily top score if you got a medic up your rectum. Or with Sniper, because nobody can just get to you. You can just park yourself to an Engineer. The only counter to you is another god tier Sniper on the other team. Sniper or Heavy is probably the classes I go with if I want most kills / results. Or like Battalion's Backup Soldier with stock. So yeah. Bayoyo asks, hello, how's your today? My question for the Q&A is, what do you think of other TF2 creators like Cestiasis, Great Blue, Duacho, etc.? Well, first of all, my today is good. The other TF2 content creators are like me. We enjoy the game, and that's where our similarities end, really. Sure, people know that I hang out with Cestiasis and R, perhaps, if you watch his stream. And also, check out R, he streams regularly, and I think he needs a bit of a boost because I think he's really funny.
I think you should kill them. I think you should kill them. I think you should kill them! Fuck!
Pull out your melee. Run!
Gavin, behind you, there's a snipe!
Hey, take a look at what the name of my sticker bomb launcher is.
It's the oh wait, that's Aaron's.
I just shat fucking my pants.
Huh? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. The first time I read that was like, fucking, am I dyslexic?
Shat fucking my pants.
Shat fucking my pants.
And I'm on there sometimes to play with them, and I have great fun with him and his friends. In general, that's because we share the same opinions. We have like the same type of humor, somewhat, again, it all is on a game. We don't know if we would actually be friends IRL, you know? We may not click even. But we can be on friendly terms. We can be friends online, and we can somewhat trust each other. Yeah, that's like all that's all I can say. I don't want to speak for anyone. All I can say that I find them to be friendly, and I want to be friends with them, and I want to keep it that way. Radical Joe DST asks, what's your favorite TF2 memory? First Godlike, first Australium. My favorite TF2 memory has to like be when I unboxed my Strange Unusual Warpaint. I feel like that shit was quite insane. Like I got really blown away, and I was really excited. And first Godlike, I cannot really remember, but I know it was probably on a Dustbowl server. I do remember I went crazy on a CP Steel lobby, where I got like my first unstoppable kill streak as a scout. I also have a screenshot where I dominated like 11 people on Dustbowl, and these were like fresh installs, all of them. My first Australium was a black box. I still have the screenshot uploaded on my profile, and you can tell how excited I was. Telenovag asks, what would you say helped you the most with the editing so well? Was it the tutorial series, practicing a specific part of it, or gaining as much knowledge about video making as possible? Also, congrats on 100k by the time you answer this question and others questions. Cheers. I slumbered. I slumbered on those last words, I'm sorry. I honestly learned things along the way. Of course, when it comes to other things like VHS edits, I have to look up the tutorial to refresh my memory and stuff. But I take mental notes of other YouTube creators and such when it comes to like clipping and, you know, transitions, etc. To be honest, I don't think my editing is that well. You know, I can try. It's not. I mean, I want to try, but again, like my clips are used to clip dump. What's the point of just good editing? 2006 Vauxhall Vectra 2.2 Direct SRI asks, what a fucking mouthful of a name. Have you ever considered on branching out to other games for your YouTube channel? I have not. I do want to play a variety of games though, like Deep Rock Galactic, Minecraft, Left 4 Dead 2, Payday 2, similar to Russian Badger, you know? Sort of like stream highlights and stuff, you know, or clip dumps. But knowing the TF2 community, I will never really get out of here. And honestly, I will play TF2 for as long as I want to. Because this game is fun. The last fun multiplayer first-person shooter, in my opinion. The Black Goose asks, what was your first Australium gun or Unusual Warpaint? My first ever Australium was the black box that I mentioned. My first Unusual Warpaint was a field-tested snow globalization cool warpaint. It's not a cool warpaint. The cool was the effect, and I have the clip of it. It's one of my clip dumps, and I don't want to go and find it, but it's there somewhere. I remember putting it in, and well, basically I sold that warpaint to be the day I got it. So yeah. Fujiwara no Neko Biodrando asks, what is your favorite food for breakfast? Probably eggs, scrambled eggs, boiled, you know, throw it on a sandwich. Eggs are good because a lot of healthy fat and protein. It's good for you. But I also like sandwiches. Just good old sandwiches. Ryan Chrysler asks, do you stream and do you only play TF2? As of writing the script, I began streaming recently, and by the time I'm doing the Q&A, I've been streaming, you know, somewhat regularly. And it's fun, even though I suck major balls at it. I have fun interacting with people and getting my throat really sore when I talk a lot, similar to what I do right now. When I grabbed this question, I haven't really began streaming, but look at me now. Anyhow, I do not only play TF2, I play a variety of games depending on my mood and my energy, like Left 4 Dead 2, Payday 2, Raft, Minecraft, 7 Days to Die, Deep Rock Galactic, Borderlands 2, Skyrim, so much more. Funny Valentine asks, if you could play only one class, which one would it be? If I were to only play one class, I would choose Demo. Honestly, he's like the most versatile in terms of weaponry and playstyles. You could say the same for Soldier, however, Demo deals much more damage. And yeah, and to be honest, I really like Soldier too, but I gotta go with Demo, honestly. Exio Picor asks, if a beginner had to get precise tips to begin TF2, what would you suggest them? Honestly, just play the game and have fun. There is no competition in this game, you know, to get good, unlike other modern first-person shooters. Watch YouTube videos and apply your knowledge, you know, into your own gameplay and such. Jack asks, would you consider YouTube to be a full-time job to you right now? Or is it some sort of side hustle or perhaps even maybe a hobby? As of right now, YouTube is considered to be my full-time job. It wasn't really my full-time job until I really got fed up with, you know, finding work. So yeah, it was during COVID. So yeah, here I am. DMOS asks, if for some reason TF2 totally disappears, would you consider uploading other games or would you abandon YouTube? I would try other games to see if they stick, but if they don't, I will sadly leave YouTube so there's no more monkey content. Mark Hunström asks, can you understand / sympathize with the sentiment, I love TF2 but I hate Valve? Yes, absolutely. I think we all have this, but people do not really realize it. Of course, there are some idiots who think that Valve cannot be criticized for some dumb reasons. However, the sole reason why the game is in this state, with cheaters, bots, exploits, and dogshit hat cases, warpaint cases, is only because of Valve's lack of care. And nothing will change until they do. We can only do so much. 5US asks, what is your favorite indie game? If you don't, then what's your favorite song? My favorite indie game probably has to be like, I don't know. It's unfair to say TF2 since Valve is a indie game company. It's not a AAA, but it probably has to be like Minecraft or Deep Rock Galactic. Honorable mentions are like 7 Days to Die, Raft, and The Forest. Ledan asks, how do you know if a clip is funny enough to be put in a video? If it brings out genuine joy in me, or any emotion rather, people really like strong emotions, especially salt. Boy, do they like salt. I won't say all of the clips I collect are comedy gold. I would say most of them are bottom of the barrel, entertaining at best, right? But sometimes a hidden gem passes through, and those are always fun to collect. I am a box and have a knife asks, do you still enjoy the games you play? Yes, and if I didn't, I wouldn't play it. Fugo asks, how did you meet Femboy? Well, me and Femboy, or his actual name, Christopher, we met in Högstadiet, as we call it, is here in Sweden, which is like middle school or something. We're like 12 to 15 there, right? At first, we didn't really talk much, but throughout the school years, we became really good friends, and we shared many laughs with each other. Whether that be dumb memes or inside jokes. Anyhow, we hung out a lot, and the last day of school we got each other's Discord and we called it and played a variety of games throughout the summer breaks and more. I mean, I can still remember we geeked Payday 2 and completed every heist on Deathwish difficulty. We played a lot of Left 4 Dead 2 campaigns, custom campaigns, right? And honestly, without him, this channel would not have been the same. So I really want to shout out Christopher for being here for me and the channel. So yeah. Tintin asks, what defines a good warpaint to you? A good warpaint needs to have textures and colors that resemble the style of TF2 and of course the good intentions by the author itself, but that's purely like ethical. What's more important is that the warpaint is not offensive to the style of the game and can blend in perfectly. It isn't a bright neon color bomb and make adults who behave like children cum. That's kind of it. Joey Pettersson asks, when did you learn English? Honestly, I don't know. I think I began picking up English when I was watching people on YouTube and playing lots of Zelda games while growing up. Due to me being a dumbass, I kept translating words that appeared on screen and kind of taught myself. Of course, school was a critical part when it came to grammar and more, even though I still fail at grammar and I still have broken English. Daniel asks, why do you have the marksman as a profile picture? Also, you forgot the dictator. I think it just looks funny and goofy. I remember making my profile picture during my time in Gymnasium, when my channel was small as shit, like less than 100 subs. I don't know, I find them really goofy looking, and I usually wore them, but then I kind of grown tired of it, and I went back to using cool loadouts that I like using. Hans Poggi asks, why do you choose Monkey as your name? Basically, it all boils down to me as a kid, right? When I was young, I learned how to climb before I learned how to walk, and my grandpa said to my mom that I was a prime example of that we evolved from apes, right? Since I climbed everywhere, in the kitchen, on the playgrounds, in trees, and much more, right? At first I named myself The Crazy Monkey, original I know, but then I was really interested in YouTube and I wanted my name to pop out a bit more, so, and look more unique. So I cut the first letters and changed the O to an Ö, and it kind of stuck. King Slim Shady asks, have you had any burnout from playing TF2 or editing / YouTube, and if so, how do you overcome it? If I do have burnout sometimes, but when I do, I just don't play TF2 at all, and I just play other games. And I do that until I pick it up again with a few friends to play with, right? You know, it's a bit refreshing from taking a break from TF2 sometimes. And TF2 will always stay fresh since it has a lot of classes, the art style, the subclasses for everything, the casual setting. That's what keeps me coming back to TF2, unlike any other games. But how do I deal with burnouts? Well, just most of the time I'm just very, very lazy. So I don't really edit when I should. You know, I have to kind of keep this as a job more than a hobby, or do it when I sometimes I need to get myself in the groove. And most of the time when I really feel shit about not editing, I just keep remind myself that I make people happy from creating videos. So that's what kind of gets me back up on my feet. Engineer 229 asks, what TF2 update did you like the most? Honestly, it's a close call between Tough Break and Gunmetal. Gunmetal update introduced the skin system. It introduced the weapon drop system. You could pick up weapons, right? It changed a lot and added a lot of cool maps. But I gotta go with the Tough Break. Honestly, Tough Break was such a Look, right, I can say Gunmetal the other day and like Tough Break today and so on and so forth, but today I want to go with Tough Break. Not only did the update introduce 4 new awesome skin collections that I adore, the Harvest Collection, the Gentleman's Collection, Warbird Collection, and the Pyroland Collection, but it also really has some good maps that I hold really close to my heart. Micron Robot asks, what is the most insane clip you recorded? Probably when I unbox my Strange and Neutral Warpaint. I don't think I will ever hit a chance like that again. Like, you can hit 10% all the time, but that chance? No. Crusty Sword asks, can you elaborate why casual servers, as I remember you saying in a video, that you don't really like on Guildtopia or community servers in general? Because I would really like to know your own thoughts on why casual is so much more enjoyable. First of all, I gotta get the good news out of the way. Like, I think community servers are saving grace with TF2 since people in the US and Asia and Australia, they can connect to these servers and just play TF2 like how it is, which is really good. So they don't really have to play on casual servers. So that's good. So that's why I really respect Uncle Dane for hosting these servers and anyone who hosts a lot of servers. Now, what I don't like about community servers is that the people who connect on there are very, very, very tryhardy. They're very sweaty. Like, oh god. Like, you can get 2,000 hours sniper mains and scout mains, and due to random bullet spread being turned off, scouts are basically buffed since they can more predictably place their crosshair right on you and deal more damage at further ranges, which kinda is the thing that keeps scout in check. And also random crits are turned off, so no like very nutty random crits slammed on a point that gives you that dopamine kick. You know, I don't really like community servers for that reason alone. And especially the map rotation. Holy fuck. When was the last time you played on like Snowplow, Freight, fucking Mercenary Park or whatever? When was the last time you went on Uncletopia and played on those maps? I have never ever played on those maps on Uncletopia before. I played like Uncletopia in of itself, it's fine. Like, when casual doesn't work, Uncletopia is a really good option to, go to. But the fucking map pool that they have is so annoying. They barely touch any new maps. So people, I and many others have gotten so sick of Upward and Badwater. It's so bad water. Ha. So that's why I don't like these community servers, because one, restricting map pool, basically the majority wins, so you can't really get out of there. No random crits, random bullet spread is turned off, and there's clash restrictions. So if you wanna be the 4th demo, or perhaps the 4th engineer, or the 4th pyro, or scout, or soldier, well, sorry, fuck you, you can't. If you try to go with a gimmick loadout on there, you will get destroyed. People will not handicap themselves just for you. They will crush your... It's essentially that one teacher that will just crush your fucking dream because they think you're stupid. Anyways, next question. Fomentorius asks, favorite SFM or NG mod animators? The Winglets, Dr. Lalv, Delac, Costamonian. And especially El Toro 64, Ross and Burno. I know there's some others out there, like ST Black ST. I love you. I love all animators, honestly. Like, they are our saving grace in this community. Because they're so fucking talented, I swear to God. Carlisle Alt asks, what do you think is an underrated weapon in TF2? Probably the Equalizer, or maybe the SMG. I swear, most people don't understand how good the SMG is if you can hit those shots in close range. It feels amazing to kill someone with a full magazine to pump into them. So good. But the Equalizer is also pretty good, and I think the Overdose is also really, really good. Skedaddle asks, what made you go into YouTube full time? Well, my previous boss was being a dickhead, and for searching jobs didn't work out, and I was doing YouTube as like a side hustle, hobby / income. But when I got my first big paycheck, I got really excited, and I took upon myself to drive this channel all by myself, which is a pain, but worth it in the end. And also, COVID was huge at that time, so nobody really wanted to apply anyone for jobs unless they were like crucial, right? Marius G asks, how long does it take for you to make a video? Recording, editing, etc. And do you feel pressure to make content regularly, or do you just work on videos when you feel like it? It can easily vary, but it can take up to 2 weeks minimum. It all ranges from getting those clips. When I have those clips, I have to bring myself to do a bulk editing for an entire day, and with my damn ADD, it's quite hard. But I'd say 2 weeks minimum if I'm lucky. Simon, or Captain, asks, what is your favorite video that you ever made? I think Casual Entertainment. I think, honestly, Casual Entertainment, that intro that I made for COD Zombies was really a pat on the back for me, even though how mediocre it actually is. Not to mention, I've looked back on some clips and that ended up in there, and sometimes they even make me laugh. So yeah, I think Casual Entertainment is my favorite video that I ever made. What made you realize that TF2 is special? Now, this part is unscripted, since I really like speaking from my heart, and I like stumbling over all my words because my ADHD brain just says more words that my mouth can produce. But basically, TF2, it's all about that casual setting, man. All about it. The fact that you can just launch the game and never need to fucking improve at the game is such a breath of fresh air. There's no ranking, there's no like goals, there's no things you need to do. It's just boot up and play and have fun. That's what I love about it. And God, the art style. Just looking at promo or concept art, it makes me giggle a bit on the inside, because it just screams and makes TF2 more special to me. Because so much time was put into this game, and it's very sad just seeing Valve just leaving it, because nobody can really recreate the style of TF2. It's set in the 80s, has this very pastel style, very cartoony, and all the, you know, and how textures are made, like all the textures, like it's fucking amazing. Like all, and not to say all the classes and the personality of all these classes and the community, and when I mean community, like the content aspect of this community is fucking amazing. I'm talking about animators, not YouTubers. We are like the fucking bottom of the barrel. That's we are. But MSS Blue, amazing fucking, it's an amazing movie. And of course, you can launch the game and get good at it and frag. Like, nothing is really stopping you. You can just go fucking all the snipers or spies, gun spies, and fucking kill the enemy team. There's endless opportunities with this game, really. But, I mean, in terms of gameplay, like, if you, like, I don't see a point of just recording, just everyone going heavy and just pushing the cart and win, you know, that sometimes, I mean, that's just funny on its own, not really YouTube worthy. Oh well, now I'm just rambling again. But TF2 is really special due to that reason alone. It's, you can say and do whatever you want in this game, and nobody can tell you what the fuck to do. Pyro Gaming asks, if you had to change something about TF2, either inside the game or outside, what would you change? Give the game a cheat detector of some kind. Like, I don't care if it places itself in my computer, used to check for cheating software scripts, so we don't really have to deal with bots and cheaters anymore. Otherwise, game balancing would be cool, you know, bring back discontinued items like Strange Pants, Ops, Kriegs, and so you don't really have to pay out the ass to get them. And also skins. Music Lovin' asks, what do you enjoy the most and least about TF2? It's casual setting, how things are not repetitive, all the subclasses, the personality of the mercs, the hats, the skins, and the maps. pretty much everything. Now, what I least like about TF2, it's how it can get really toxic really quickly, depending on people's playstyles and their toxicity in the chat. But of course, you can just always turn off the chat, right? But the fucking community is really rabid. That's what I don't really like about it. Like, I can post a thing about Sniper on Twitter and I will get fucking swarmed. Of course, easy bait to get like clicks, right? Because I'm the famous YouTuber monkey. Fucking. And of course we have Reddit, you know, Engineer Gaming. Ha! Kill me. That's what I don't like about TF2. The fucking community. Sometimes it can get so fucking bad. I mean, just take a look at the workshop and you will see what the fuck I mean. Spiffy asks, what is your favorite case/crate? Winter 2017 and Warbird case is also really good. I like those cases, but again, really fucking expensive due to reasons that I've already explained in this video that nobody watched for some reason. Oh well. What the fuck? Afandi asks, if you could visit one place around the world, where would it be? Iceland, probably. And Japan. I know, how original, right? And, you know, gotta go to Japan, you know, neckbeard looking ass, you know. No, but I find Japan's culture really interesting. I just like the climate. Both, right? In Iceland and in Japan. And, well, I mostly want to go to Iceland because, you know, it's fucking Iceland, you know? I love the tundra and the isolation from everywhere in the world, right? And in Japan, I would just like to go and see Mount Fuji. I think that mountain is called. I don't know if you can see it. I've never done research, but I know there's a mountain called Mount Fuji, and I know... Whatever. Tula asks, hello Tula. If you could give a complete rework to any single weapon, which one would it be and what would you change? Honestly, the Flog. It's a dog shit to play against, especially if that Pyro is in a call with his grooming boyfriend, fucking E-Kitten. I don't know who Ubers him every time he has crits and completely wipes your team. It's not fun to fight against. So if I had to rework Flog, right, I would just remove the ability for the Pyro to be Ubert, right? Like, he can be overhealed, but he cannot be fucking Ubert. Like, by any medigun. Not the quick fix, not the vaccinator, not the, well, the Uber. It just sucks to play against. And those people who just play Flog, I sometimes play Flog, but I know I'm a piece of shit. I know it's not fun to fight against. But people who just do it just to piss people off, that's just fucking annoying. And those people should get sent to the 7 stages of hell. 5slap asks, which warpaint is the best one you've made, in your opinion, so far? It's a hard tie between Billiard Glass and Damascene Decord. At the time of writing the script, I would go for my Damascene Decord warpaint, and I still do. So I think that might be my favorite one, or the best one I've made. But sadly we'll never see it accepted into the game. Officer 10 Penny ain't serving you asks, what a name. Do you honestly enjoy making TF2 content? Well, yes. If I didn't, I would just not do it. Megastorm asks, absolute favorite map where you feel right at home? High Pass or probably Snowy Coast? Those are really good maps that I really enjoy. Ranger Danger asks, in your opinion, does TF2 truly have that secret sauce that makes the games timeless? And could you describe which aspects of the game you think describe its best? I think the secret of what makes this game timeless is that its art style has really stood the test of time, and so has the characteristics of the Mercenaries. And mainly the combat and gameplay. TF2 is never really repetitive. Like, it's a game where you can frag and fuck around with friends and do dumb shit, and there's no specific rules on how you play the game, or how you approach the game. Class wars, friendly servers, gimmick loadouts, tryharding, competitive, it all boils down to the player and what they want to play. However, the game will always remain as a casual first-person shooter. RR asks, what weapons would you want an Australian version of? An Australian shotgun or loose cannon? That would be awesome, actually. Or perhaps Dragon's Fury. No, honestly, loose cannon. Oh, it would look so good. But I think, I think the popular opinion would be an Australian shotgun, and I will have to believe that I will go with that. An Australian shotgun would fucking look amazing. Mexican Ninja asks, when is the next class montage? Now, if people don't know what he's asking about, he basically is asking about the class montages that I created before my YouTube blew up, where I, you know, it was more of a creative, you know, content. I don't know. I think I want to redo my Pyros montage. I feel like it needs a bit of a refurbishment of some kind. But at the same time, I kind of want to do a montage of the spy. You know, Gun Spy would be pretty cool. Havoc Room Studios asks, how do you feel about getting noticed in pub games? Honestly, pretty cool. I remember when I got noticed for the first time and it immediately made my day. Nowadays, I just find it really enjoyable that I can meet someone that watches my shit, you know? And sometimes I met people who are not fond of me and, you know, they want to kill the famous YouTuber, and I get it, you know, it's fun. And but it's just fun just seeing people recognize me, and most of the time I have my chat turned off because, well, I stream sometimes when playing the game and I don't want to turn on the chat because someone might be like, oh, you're streaming, you're live streaming, oh, let me just say some racial slurs because lol. So yeah, no, like most of the time I'm very lazy and don't respond back, but I do notice them. But feel free to say hi if you recognize me. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank you all for recognizing me. It's very fun. Vismer asks, if you could control the direction of TF2, where would you lead it to? I mean, of course, into a more casual setting, rework some of the weapons that are useless and make them somewhat useful in pubs, like the Sandman and Raid Type Recorder and much more, right? Make the game fun for everyone. Now, if we're speaking technical terms, I would implement an anti-cheat system that detects running scripts that is very sussy. So, closet fucking cheaters get banned, and bots, of course, you know, it'll be impossible to make the game completely free from cheaters, but you won't encounter them on daily basis or weekly basis. Oh, and implement UV skin cases and remove warpaints, so degenerates can't make too flat textures or grab stock images, clip art, or in-game textures, and it'd be expected to be paid around 5 figures. In general, raise the fucking bar for hat and skin implementation. Like, it's very bad. Print, street name, asks, I feel like a lot of these questions will be TF2 stuff, so I'm gonna ask something else. What are your hobbies / interests outside of TF2 and YouTube? Stuff like music, art, or autistic stuff, sport, etc. I know he says artistic. I never really expected this question, but I used to play a lot of guitar, but now I've kind of grown tired of it. Mainly I like going out and hit the gym. I used to swim a lot, and I used to swim like 1 kilometer every session. For you Americans, that's like 0.6 miles. I'm also very interested in cooking, yet I only know around like 5 dishes on top of my head. That's kind of like all you need to know, sort of. Music-wise, I like classic rock, hard rock, and calming, lo-fi, you know, music when I want to relax. I can like any music as long as they have catchy tunes and lyrics, but rock is something I can always come back to if I want to have a good tune. Oder asks, why do you make weapon skins? Just a hobby or try to get one in a game? Well, both, honestly. Warpaints has been fun. I learned how to make textures and experimented with color palettes. I wish we could get some of the warpaints I made into the game, mainly due to my own bias, and of course, I think people will enjoy them. But sadly, we will never see them, so yeah, it's essentially a hobby. Kyle Shung asks, who do you look up to in terms of content creators? Honestly, not really anyone. YupCup kinda does incredible work on his channel. He actually cares about quality and makes funny skits, and I'm concerned about what's going on in his head. Probably cats. But mainly like maybe Says the Jesus. I know, I'm going to bring up the bigot. But really, listen. Me and him, we agree on many things about this game. Like, for example, how warpaints and hats should be more stylized for the game. Same with unusual effects. Of course, it does not hurt to have some exceptions thrown in for some spice, right? Competitive does not work in TF2. Like, 90% of the player base does not really give a shit about competitive, or do not play it at all. And therefore, TF2 should remain as a casual game. We both like decorated weapon skins, and if it weren't for him, I would have just stuck with warpaints and never gone back a bit and take a good look at the weapon skins and how different they are from today's warpaints. Oh yeah, and we both hate Sniper and the Short Circuit. We have many similarities, and that's why I kind of, you know, liked Sesties and why I subscribe to him and why I sometimes interact with them. You know, basically he's the first one to ever talk about the things I wanted to talk about, right? When my channel was small, when I didn't have a voice. He had a voice at that time. It all began with the warpaints, I tell you. K Cool Rivers asks, do you think you will ever collaborate with other TF2 tubers? I know there may be a language barrier, but it would be kind of cool. I mean, not really. I mean, I could read some scripts in someone's video, you know, if they quote me on something. I could play with Yup Cup and have him featured in my video, which is something I've done. And I could also, I would have no problem hopping on a podcast with some people and just discuss about TF2, you know, it would be fun, it would be kind of chill. But I wouldn't mind being a guest on someone's channel, but just as like a quick hi, right? But making a video based on someone's appearance is kind of I know I have a video just featuring Sacisis, but that's because we've spoken to each other before, and as I mentioned, we are cool, we're kind of friends, so yeah. A name that I cannot pronounce asks, the most expensive item that everyone will be jealous on you, or jealous about, I guess, well, I don't know, like, skin-wise, I don't think people would pay that much of a boring drab skin, because in retrospect, a Strange Factor new High Rollers rocket launcher should not be worth almost 4 times as a normal Strange Australian rocket launchers. I think the Australian rocket launcher is the most gaudy thing I have in my backpack. Unfiltered asks, how do you grow your channel? When I post a video, nobody watches it, no matter how hard I worked on it. So like, I need to know the reason behind why no one is giving my content any chance. Well, shoehorn yourself into a community and trap yourself making the same videos about the said community/game. The algorithm may pick you up if you do the things that are trending. I didn't know the casual videos were popular or trending until I eventually made one, so yeah, that's how I got here. Kubix XD asks, do you still have hope that TF2 can be saved, or to what TF2 devs can do to make you happy while playing the game? I mean, kind of, I mean, if they somehow port TF2 to Source 2 and redo the code, TF2 can somewhat be saved, right? Because TF2 is so old. It's from 2007, so it's not without a doubt. The code is in a mess. You're in an end game of fucking game of Jenga, right? The slightest move will make that tower fall. That's how we got the Great Depression, and that's how some people said that the Australian Medigun and Wrench were not dropping. People, like, the devs can just make a slight mistake in the code and will just ruin the game. So the best option is to like recode everything and port things to Source 2, but that will never happen because, you know, why bother, right? What we can do to save quote-unquote TF2 is to keep the game as it is, you know, maintain it. Don't make it competitive oriented because that will just fucking kill it, basically. Janosik56 asks, what is your favorite Meet the video? Probably Medic, because the soundtrack is a fucking banger, and I like his like friendship with the Heavy and well, yes, Heavy. Mel Rosewood asks, how does your standard editing process go? You add clips, add subtitles, and then edit them, or do you leave subtitles for the very end? I'm just very curious. Okay, so like, I mean, it usually goes, I import the clips, mix the audio, trim them around where the funny moment happens, then trim them, so the pacing of the video is a bit better, so the clips aren't dragged out or anything. Then I go about on 3 things, adding keyframes, you know, the zooming in thing and track people, where, you know, with their funny ragdolls and such, add sound effects and making them appear at the right moment, and subtitling, which is fucking boring. I usually do those 3 things if I ran out of footage and I need to go collect more. I usually play around the evenings with friends to nab more content or clips, so yeah. Oh, and I add music because it gives the video a bit of more energy to it, so yeah. And this process usually takes around more than 2 weeks, so yeah. Atrojir asks, I've been looking for the comments on this Q&A to make sure I'm asking something original.
But here's mine. Since at the time of this Q&A, you've reached 100k on subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations. However, I know you're not done with making content for the TF2 community and possibly other games in the future as well. But do you think YouTube will ever start treating your channel like they actually care? Referring to multiple incidents/actions around monetization, videos, thumbnails, etc. And what do you think about YouTube's very questionable actions/features that they've added recently? Do you think there's hope for a better future with the direction of where YouTube is heading?
YouTube will never really care about smaller channels. Well, they do care about creators, rarely it seems, but they obviously play favorites. At the time of writing the script, they have actually reverted a change so people can actually swear in their videos without being demonetized instantly. I myself swear a lot, however in these casual videos I cut off majority of the swears because I don't want to risk the video being demonetized after it's being released. This happened in my summer casual video where the video got demonetized overnight, so I lost out on a lot of revenue, which kind of hurt, and I have spent a lot of time on that video. But I leave some swears in if it greatly impacts the humor of the clip. Like this one in my casual 2023 video. No, I got fucking... Tony Allen asks, also, hello, Tony. What is your experience with gambling in TF2? Had any luck with unusuals or Australians? Not really. Of course I've gotten unusuals before, but I never really unboxed something crazy, right? The most insane one I've unboxed was my green energy lawn maker. That's about it. And in terms of war paints, I've actually unboxed something quite insane. A strange field-tested unusual war paint. Portal plastered. And I shamelessly sold it for 400 euros, and I bought myself my strange factory High Rollers rocket launcher. For many people this is probably the dumbest decision, however I will stick with my fancy bias. In terms of trade-ups, don't get me started. Like, I hit big on the Team Spray SMG, hit 3 10% on a strange minimal wear mercenary grade skin in the Gentleman's Collection. These 3 skins makes up the most value in my backpack, around 800 to 1000 plus keys. It's fucking insane. Average Hentai Enjoyer asks, how do you manage to still upload every single week or day or so, even when you have a low viewer count? Every time I see a video that is really entertaining but has a low viewer count, I still get sad, even in my perspective. So what keeps you going? Or to put it simply, what motivates you? Well, YouTube plays a big part in this. If it isn't over 20 minutes and has casual in the title, it simply is not going to push it out to many people. Of course, my audience won't probably find any of my fillers interesting, since it's not a huge 20-minute video of just dumb stuff happening in a casual game. That's like how it is. If people don't get the stuff they subscribe for, they're not going to watch it. However, what motivates me is just to make people happy. These filler videos, I like iTalks and war paints and workshop reviews. I just stuff I want to talk about with people. A Japanese or Chinese word that I cannot pronounce. Do you have a big love for Source games as a whole, or is TF2 the most standout to you? Did you happen to watch Kitty0706? You use sound effects that is very reminiscent of his videos. Source games has a very comfortable feeling when I play them. Like when it comes to beopping, edge bugs, and other gimmicks that make Source behave like a Source game. And yes, I watched Kitty0706 a lot when I was growing up. I remember the Heavy gets his driver's license video and how I almost died of laughter watching it. Same with his other 2 videos, Team Fabulous 2, Heavy's Retarded Holiday, and more. I'm sad he's gone, but I'm just glad that everyone still respects him and remember him. What is this name? Sandwich asks, how long have you played TF2? For how many hours? I played around 379 hours, which is 1,381 hours away from me playing this game for an entire year, non-stop, which makes me sad to think about actually. I started playing this game around 2012 probably, which is more than a decade from now, which also makes me really sad to think about. Local Shower Shitter asks, what's your opinion on TF2's original soundtrack? What is your favorite video game soundtrack? TF2's soundtrack is kind of spectacular. I don't think any other game leans into jazz as much as TF2 does. I mean, there are some other games that do that, but TF2 is definitely has a much higher energy to it to kind of represent its cartoony style and its gameplay, to kind of complement it. But my favorite soundtrack, however, has to be Skyrim's. Minecraft comes in close second, but Skyrim has a very good soundtrack. And my favorite song in TF2 soundtrack is "It Hates Me So Much." It's a really good banger. It's a good tune, and "Seduce Me" is also pretty good. What are people with these symbols as a name? Anyway, it seems like a box asked me, would you consider uploading Minecraft builds onto your channel? Like a commentary over what you're building and stuff. No, like I've pretty much grown tired of Minecraft due to many useless things they're adding. It's just like that. It just clutters the game more and more. And I've stated that I've been working on a Minecraft map. However, I think I will be sticking to 1.19.3 on that one. I would actually love to finish it, but time is money, and I am an adult, so I don't have time to finish any of it. So yeah, kinda sucks. Dallas Barrios asks, what's your favorite type of music? And to follow, what bands or artists? Also, thank you for the kind words. Okay, look, right. Dire Straits has to be one of my favorite rock bands of all time. If you never heard of them and you're into classic rock, you gotta check them out. Money for Nothing and Sultan of Swing are probably my two favorite songs from their albums, and like one of the best rock songs in rock and roll history, in my opinion. So, yeah. So if you're into classic rock, check out Dire Straits and check out the two songs I mentioned. They're a tune, I tell you. Brick Ender asks, do you like the idea of a 4th cosmetic slot? And 2, what is your first video game you ever played? First of all, a 4th cosmetic slot would add too much to the player model, honestly. It would be cool, but people would abuse it to make some weird loadouts, I tell you. Like, it would not be good, and I think it will look horrendous. Like, cosmetics are getting out of hand as is, so adding a 4th one would... no. And my first video game I ever played was probably New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, I think. Certified Man asks, if you were to choose 2 of the mercenaries you had to fight, who would they be? Keep in mind that they would be an even fist fight, no weapons or etc. Scout or Medic probably, since I probably have the highest chance of winning. Of course, it's not a guarantee because I never thought in my entire life, luckily. Scout is a twig, he'll throw a few punches, but when I get a hold of him, he's pretty much screwed. Medic's just a doctor. We are essentially the same height, so it would be somewhat even. Not saying I would win, but I could take my chances with these instead of like a mentally ill pyromaniac, a serial killer, a buff Texan who's shorter than me but would probably kick my ass still, and a giant mountain of muscles where his fingers are as thick as my throat. Or maybe a sniper? I don't know. Medic and Scout. The 711 Natsert asks, is that how I pronounce it? I don't know. Video or warpaint / item wise, what's the most annoying difficult you ever worked on? Videos never become boring. They always kind of tire me out sometimes, but they become boring when I work on them for long periods of time. However, the most annoying one had to be Österrauk Warpaint, or the billiards one. Österrauk, because I didn't want the main texture to be cluttered or hard to read, yet it still became that way. So I need to redo that one, and it doesn't really fit in with TF2's art style. And billiards, because I had to do individual mapping for every single weapon. Same with the textures. I made the textures, so yeah, it was a bit of a pain to make those. Polio Inc. asks, thoughts on newer unusual effects? aka effects that are just community sparkles and in 3 bright colors compared to the gen effects and the older seasonal effects. More novel and simpler concepts, muted colors, real world stuff in an unusual fashion. Unusuals has always been kind of gaudy, somewhat, you know, but at least they maintain some TF2 style in them. However, as you stated, nowadays there's neon color bombs that attract brainless mobs that are nowadays TF2 players because, ooh, bright shiny, oh my god, I'm gonna cut. I think we need to recycle effects. Release a new case and Valve announces that these effects can now be unboxed within all cases, and I mean cases, not crates. Then people could obtain certain hats with certain unusual effects that some people will pay out the ass for. But I wish we got some good unusual effects again that looks like they belong in TF2, but you know, that's a bit too much to ask for. Max Jackson asks, how would you define TF2's art style and what makes the game stand out compared to other games? TF2's art style is very vintage, pastel-y, cartoony, somewhat. Textures are somewhat flat but still works very well. Everything kinda looks old and dusty and painted on. Meanwhile, other games opt with the most generic fucking art style ever that attracts mainstream media, like this cartoony, goofy art style like Overwatch and Valorant. Like these art styles are fucking everywhere and I hate it and it's so boring and I want to kill myself. Perneri asks, can you make a class tier list? Yeah, sure. Here. 2. How old are you? I'm 21. 3. Do you like cheese? Very serious question. Yes, I like cheese. I have one in my fridge right now and you shall not have it. Sir Franco asks, what do you think makes a good new warpaint / hat? Okay, first, the warpaint needs to fit the game. It isn't some pink ass Nebula or Sumpway warpaint. 2. The warpaint has good textures and is team colored depending on the colors used. 3rd, the creator made the textures themselves. They didn't use clip art or stock images from Google or unedited in-game textures to make the warpaint. They gotta put in some work, you know, on their part. The creator This is purely ethical, but the creator has some good intentions when it comes to, you know, making items for the game. You know, they can care about money and just the self-made, but as long as the item is good, you know, it has quality, redeeming qualities, and basically just fits in with the game, then that question is out of the picture, right? For hats, just don't overdo it with paint regions. Basically recoloring your player model. Keep jiggle bones and paint regions on hats and cosmetics very, very small, because they are cherry on top of the cake, and the hat itself is the cake. Now the hat just needs to fit the class it's on. Unless it's like a beard, then it can be like multi-class or all class. What we want to preserve, or what I want to preserve, are the characteristics of all the mercenaries. Keep their style and their personality in check. Don't give Spy or Medic a sombrero or something like that, because that will just ruin their somewhat personality. You know, these mercs will clash, you know, they are distinct. Therefore, hats should be carefully made for each individual class. That's why Soldier has some camo cosmetics and Spy doesn't. So, yeah. Basically, Neon asks, how many hours of raw material do you roughly need for one compilation? I never really checked, but around like 2 hours maybe of footage. When I save, I use NVIDIA Shadowplay, and when I save it, it's around 1 minute and 30 seconds of what I recorded. And usually the funny moments usually last from, I don't know, a couple seconds to maybe a full-on minute, maybe? It's rarely a 1 minute sometimes, but usually I collect like 50 plus clips, maybe even more, like 70 or 80 actually. Sahand Pakdel asks, how would you balance Sniper if you could have done it? Okay, so the main reason why I despise Sniper is because he's really quick and he deals 150 across the map no matter what range. But give him a longer reload time. Instead of like 1 second, make it like 2 maybe or something, I don't know. And the headshot delay should not be 200 ms, it should be extended to 800 ms. So you can react when there's a sniper across the fucking map. If he's already scoped in, well, you know, that's your fault, right? But you won't make that same mistake twice. Probably not. Either way. But for Sniper, giving him that 800 millisecond headshot delay will, you know, throw him off a bit. So give Sniper a stun Q when he's able to headshot. And during that non-headshot phase, his crosshair should not be visible on the walls. Now, when it comes to like general gameplay, you should hear like a snap when the sniper is shooting at you. You should hear it, and it should be distinct. And a tracer would be useful as well. Not like a very obvious one, maybe like a really subtle one. So you know that he's shooting at you. So you can respect the sightline, I guess. And also give him reverse damage fall off, so he can't deal massive damage in close range headshots. Because more often than not, it's so bullshit when you are playing Sniper. Well, when I play Sniper and someone runs up to me, caught me red-handed, he managed to flank me, and I can just easily press a mouse 2, mouse 1, and instantly delete him. That is fucking stupid. So, do the reverse Ambassador. Make it deal less damage in close range, and deal more damage at long range, or longer ranges, similar to the Crusader's crossbow. Of course, it should not be useless in close range, right? If you manage to hit a headshot, you should be rewarded with some damage increase, like 70 damage or something. But not 150, so you can't instantly kill maybe like an overhealed kunai spy or flanking scout. So you can actually be taken out, but you will actually deal a lot of damage to them. And if they flank you with, you know, low enough health, you may actually be able to kill them. And the final part, rework the Darwin's Danger Shield, Razorback, and Bushwhacker, so they are perfectly balanced. The Bushwhacker, paired with the Jarate, is basically a get out of jail free card. And it just basically fucks over Spy and other classes that just goes into melee range with the long range class. Long range dedicated class, I'm sorry. Darwin's Danger Shield just shuts off Pyro, and that's stupid. Razorback just shuts down Spy, that's also pretty stupid. So Spy needs to take more of a risk to deal with the Sniper. That's already really hard to counter, since he is able to kill anyone from any range. Meanwhile, the rest of the classes are not really, unless they get crits or, you know, whatever. That is how I would balance Sniper, and people might not agree. People think that he should have a clip to reload. But, you know, that is me. I want to keep him simple. So, with all these changes, the SMG might actually be a useful weapon to have if you know, get flanked. Which happens more often than not, but most of the time snipers fucking park themselves with an engineer, so it doesn't really change the fact, so. That's how I would balance sniper. Coxon asks, is there any weapon / mechanic you love, but most of the community despises the shit out of? I like Black Box and Conch Soldier, because I think it's fun just not to die. Expired Cheerios asks, in your opinion, what is the worst skin ever to be added to TF2? Well, basically, like almost every Warpaint after Winter 2017. However, if I need to pick 3, we have Vor, Ugly, and Soulless fucking Void. Tolo asks, your opinion about Finland and how your friend knows the word mitä vittua? Well, basically, Finland is kind of cool, you know, it's filled with drunks, that's all I know. Finland is basically our neighbor country, so we have some influence. So I know some, you know, curse words and words like fucking haista paska, jamalauta, minä rakastan vittu, perkele. You know, I just know these, and these are all like bad words, so. User Code asks, do you play competitive stuff, aka open low 6s versus 6s? I played Valve's official competitive back in the day, but, you know, it's kind of fun to test yourself, but, you know, it gets really boring really quickly. It's Cuz asks, what made you first interested in TF2? What intrigued me to play the game was the unlockable weapons. I liked how they displayed what kind of changed about them. You know, damage bonuses. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I can like change my loadout to, you know, what I want to play. But you know, Fireborrow asks, how much can you bench? Well, I've never really benched since I don't have a spotter, and if I do my max rep. And if you don't know what maxing is, that's when you put on the maximum weight that you can physically carry and go for 1 rep and see how much you can pull. But again, I never really done the bench press. I've done the incline press, which is basically the bench press, but more like tilted upwards. So I train my upper chest muscles. But on that one, I do like 70 kilos. I think that's my max, or 80, 90, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. More2 asks, how do you record Team Fortress 2 videos? Because I don't know how to. I myself use NVIDIA Shadowplay. It sucks, but it kind of it works. But other people use OBS that you can directly download through Steam, so yeah, go ahead and download it. Soulrise asks, what's your favorite kind of juice? Tropical juice, but apple juice is very good. Hungarian Baron asks, why do you let so few people join at a time onto your Discord server? Well, first of all, it's much easier to moderate. Second of all, I have made a lot of friends due to the Discord being small, so we can see each other on a daily basis. So it doesn't become a clusterfuck of text every time I hop on. Because if there's a lot of people in there, then you might not be able to make friends really quickly, because you meet new people every single time when you log on there. So plus it keeps the idiots out, and I mean, it's a small group of people, which is fun to hang around with. I get the question, you know, how do I join your Discord server? And I just reply with, I mean, yeah, that's how it's gonna work, sadly. Dwash Upus asks, who's your favorite class and who's your most unfavorite? I've already answered this. My favorite class is probably Demo. I don't really hate playing any class. Every class is fun. It's fun to play every single class in the game. In terms of playing against, well, good snipers are really fucking frustrating to play against, so yeah. Artemi asks, second most played game, Left 4 Dead 2 probably, or Minecraft. Swaglu asks, vilket skin är din favorit? Which translates to, what skin is your favorite? Top shelf skins are my favorite probably. The high rollers as well, but in higher wares, the high rollers get really, they look like shit sometimes. That's why top shelf skins are my favorite, because even if they are in Baldur's Guard or field tested, they still look really good. Ronan asks, what do you think about some community fixes? 2, why do you hate Sweden? Well, first, some of them are good, some of them are and some of them are really good. Now, when it comes to Sweden, I don't hate it. I love the nature and I love, well, and everything about it, right? But what I hate about Sweden is the politics that we have. It's just a fucking clown fest, really. I mean, take Twitter and make it into a country, and there you go. There's Sweden for you. Mateyuka asks, what's your gym routine? I mean, as of right now, I don't really go to the gym because I'm on a diet. I'm losing weight, so I don't have a lot of energy to go to gym and basically power lift like I used to before. But usually I work out different body groups every time I go to the gym. Arms, shoulders, neck, chest, legs, core, back, etc. You know, I work out different body groups every single time I go to the gym. And the thing is, it's not a routine. That's what I basically do. I just want to work out this specific body group, and I don't care in what order I do it. You just gotta do it. Surprise your body every single time. Because if you establish a routine, your body will get used to it. That's no good. And also, speaking of, like, there's a lot of gym-related questions in there. In my community post, I made a tattoo reveal. Yes, I'm white, but people took notice of that I'm jacked, which I will say I'm kind of not really. I'm just your average Joe, but thank you, kind words. But check that out. I got cool Norse tattoos, and I'm really proud of them, and I want to show them to everybody because I like them. Minted Candy asks, will you delete Twitter? Yes, I don't have it anymore. Well, my account is still on there, but I don't have it on my phone, and I don't have it on my computer. So if I want to use Twitter, I have to manually, like, go in there and check everything out. But I don't do it because, well, the only times I go in there is to, well, grab some shit posts. That's when I do it, and I don't fuck around there because Twitter is basically death. It will rot your fucking brain. Don't use it. If you don't have Twitter, God bless your soul. You have been blessed. Because nothing screams more Twitter than people and schizos having a rampage, having a screaming contest, and the tweet below that is just some I don't know, it's just porn, I guess. The Sundora asks, also hello Ellie, she's a mod in my server. Opinions on Pyro TF2. Pyro is fun. Don't use the score shot. If you use the score shot, you're fucking boring and you're missing out a lot of things of what the class can offer. Don't use the score shot. It's so sad you seeing these players just using the score shot and just don't bother at all. It's like, oh, the score shot is good. It's like, no. Dude, fucking 90 damage with a fucking crit flare. Oh, it's so good. It's so satisfying. You're like one-tap light classes, but it's so fun. But nope, score shot is better because I don't have to aim. Gustavo Supersonic 2001 asks, what a name. I always wonder how you come with the jokes and funny edits on your videos. Do you have a script or use some random skits? Well, basically my jokes are either stolen or I come up with them on the spot, and it's rarely when they are funny, in my opinion. I laugh at my own jokes because I'm just fucking boring. It doesn't take much for me to laugh. But I never really script my videos. Unless it's this one, I have scripted this one. But most of the time, no, I don't script my videos. Like, never, ever. Glitch Leo asks, have you thought about making a tutorial for TF2 Warpaints? Yes. I am struggling, however, with the script because I don't want it to take 50 years to explain or, you know, to inform everyone about how the Warpaint system works or how you can get a Warpaint into the game. I want it to be quick. And mostly I've been lazy and I don't really know how to script, and fucking language barrier does not help it either. So, but I want to do one, and I'm just gonna need some help from others. So, yeah. Sora asks, what do you despise Sniper, or just have a small hater towards him? Now the thing is, I like Sniper. He's fun to play sometimes, and getting those headshots is really juicy. However, I have no interest in spending or training 8 hours a day with him, and only him, just because I want to be the best TF2 player ever. Yeah! I do not. People play this game just to have a good time, or, you know, just fucking shit talk and be toxic. I don't care. But people who play Sniper or put in a lot of time just playing just Sniper are the most annoying, toxic piece of shits I've ever met, because it's just like, what can you do, really? The fucker is probably overhealed, and if you manage to get a quick scope headshot on him, sure, but he's still overhealed and he will fucking one tap you either way. So I don't know, just playing against really try-hard snipers is just very, very, very boring. Sniper in of itself is just no problem because most of the time people don't really, again, play 8 hours a day or put in thousands of hours into the fucking class. I used to main sniper before, and I know how fucking dumb this class can be. I used to main him. But then I quickly realized, like, hey, this class is fucking bullshit, because I can instantly dominate this entire sideline and no one can do anything about me because I got a sentry nest up my ass. I also got a medic sometimes healing me, and I also got my teammates around me protecting me. So if there's a spy trying to stab me, well, he's gonna fucking die, no matter what. Oh yeah, there's another sniper you have to worry about, but most of the time your entire team has a presence on that choke, so you will never really have a good sightline or some way or an effective range or, you know, a place to stand to easily challenge you. He will get knocked around by all the splash damage and just bullets firing at him, so he will not be able to have a clear shot to kill you. You're basically fucking unkillable as a sniper main. And you know, oh, that's fun, but people who play against you will think you're a fucking asshole. Just take that into consideration, because I feel that way. So no, I don't hate the class. I just hate the people who fucking main him and just play him and only him. Including myself, because I used to main him. Now, the final question by Captain Cucumber. He asks, do you have? And I say, yes I have. Anyways, that was a Q&A. I don't know how many questions this was. I had 100, but I cut them out because some of them were really, really similar. And I also answered a bunch of them in the beginning because there are some general questions and stuff. So if you manage to watch the video, for the 0.5 people that remain here, thank you for this journey. This is a really, really big milestone for me. And sorry for the Q&A being late. I underestimated how a Q&A can be a bit taxing, especially on your voice, because I've done like 5 recordings of this. 2 of them I used scrapped because it never really turned out great, right? But it's great just being a content creator for people who enjoy my content, and I look around and I see not many people succeed as well as I do with my videos sometimes. I'm not gonna say I'm the best content creator because I'm not. I'm just making clip dumps. But again, content is content and people like it, so I will keep producing it because, you know, it brings out joy in people. And building and just getting people back into the community and just hearing the kind words from people saying that they have been going through a rough time and they can set all of that aside just by watching my content is really, really touching. And especially for all the comments and especially from all the stuff I've been given, all the support, it's really overwhelming sometimes, and especially knowing that I have been in one of those spots before, you know, feeling like absolute crap when, you know, when all the pressure and responsibilities you have in your life, it kind of gets to you sometimes, and having a way to escape that is really, really important. And oh god, I'm gonna cry because I'm a really sensitive guy, you know, in terms of like when it comes to like feelings and shit. Like just knowing that I can make someone's day or make someone happier, and basically doing that as a job, it's nice. And just making people laugh and shit, that's just all I want to do. Of course, I can get my ugly sides can show, you know, I can get really toxic. I can shit talk people because, oh, I don't like sniper mains. It's like, at the end of the day, it's just a game. And we all love it. We all love playing it, and that's how it's gonna be. And not to mention from all the stuff people have given me in terms of trade offers, like it's overwhelming. I'm just some random dude on the internet making dumb videos. So like I have a bunch of screenshots and probably footage on right now that displays all of the stuff people have given me for basically free just because I make content. But it's been a fun ride, and I love doing this, no matter how daunting it can be having the stress over you. 100,000 people wanting to see more of you, and you have to keep up with that because, well, I got bills to pay. I need food on my plate. I need to pay. Well, basically, I'm standing on both of my legs. I've left the nest of my mom and dad, and I'm living on my own in my own apartment, and I'm doing this as a serious job, so it's great. It's fun. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this until the game dies, or when I die. So yeah, thank you all for watching. It's been great, and I can't wait for hitting 1 million, which will never happen at this pace. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and it's been great. Now, how do I end this fucking video? I don't know what to do actually. So yeah, bye bye.